Matthew 25 is such a rich book for what we're talking about today. It's a rich book for a lot of things, but it's definitely a rich book for what we're talking about today. And so, you know, the Word of God tells us in Deuteronomy that He has told us that He has given us a land that He wants us to go up and possess. Amen? So He gives us the land that He wants us to have. He just wants us to go up and possess it. But the reason we're going to possess the land that He gives us to go and possess, because He's taking it away from some other people. Are y'all hearing what we're saying? Yeah. God is giving you what He's taking from somebody else. Now, that happens because God chose to. Not because we earned it, not because of anything we've done, because we haven't done anything yet, right? He has to give us the land before we can go and possess it. But the fact that He took the land from somebody else, who tilled the land, who seeded the land, who built on the land, who dug waters for the land, who did all these wonderful things for the land, and then now they are being displaced, and God is displacing them, and He's giving them to you, giving His land to you. It's such an amazing thing because God looks and says, I choose you. I choose you. Now, at one point, God must have chose these other people. Amen. How can we say that? Because they had land. They had the land first, before we got it. Right? Amen. And the fact that they had it before we got it, question is, what condition was it in before they got it? We don't know, but we know that they had it before we had it. Then why is God then taking it from them? They tilled the land. They planted on the land. They built on the land. But yet He's taking it from them. We haven't tilled the land. We haven't even been on the land yet. We haven't even been on it yet. Why would He take what somebody else has worked on, take it from them and give it to you? The answer is accountability. Hallelujah. I'll make it very clear. The answer is accountability. That's the answer. So now, let's dive into this so we can see this principle at work. Someone please start reading at verse 14 in Matthew 25.
Again, it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man...
Pause right there. Now, the master came and he gave one person 5 bags of money. He gave another person 2 bags of money. And he gave another person 1 bag of money. Now let's look at this from the perspective of what this really was, right? Let's look at the perspective of what it was. He gave one person 5 talents. He gave another person 2 talents, another person 1 talent. 5 talent, I mean 1 talent in that day was the equivalency of 20 years' pay for a laborer. So under no circumstances are we talking about a little money here. 1 talent is 20 years, equivalent to 20 years' salary of a laborer. Now, how did he know who to give the 5 to? How did he know who to give the 2 to? And how did he know who to give the 1 to?
Based on their ability.
Based on their what?
Ability. What they were capable of, like, being a good steward of.
Accountability. Based on their accountability.
Which is based on their accountability. Right? He knew the one that had the 5 didn't start out with 5. but they must have been pretty good at 1. Then it was good at 2. Then it was good at 4. Then they were good at 5. Now looking at how this guy counts, the one that was 2 at one point wasn't good at anything about handling money, but maybe he was a good laborer. I don't know. He was good at something. Because the Jew was able to understand the fact that the principle of investments. Maybe he was good with handling his bill. Maybe he paid his tithes on time. Right? Maybe he brought his first fruits. Maybe he attended all of the Jewish, the 4 traditions that happen every year, where men were supposed to show up at. Maybe that was it. I don't know, but some way, this particular guy, rich guy, knew the gentleman with the 2 he gave the 2 to was able to handle 2. And it looked like he gave this guy that was 1, gave him a shot at handling 20 years worth of money. Well, maybe because he saw the guy handling his own money pretty well for whatever period of time. So he gives him this money, he goes away, he comes back, pick it up from there.
The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I've gained 5 more.
Now pause and check this out. Listen how this reads. It doesn't read that the one with 5 went out and earned 5 and brought the 5 he earned and then said, Master, see, you gave me 5 bags and I earned another 5 bags. It didn't say that. It said that the one with 5 brought the other 5. Now we know how he got it. We're going to hear it in a minute. But I think it's interesting that it said he brought the other 5. Here's what this says to me. It says to me that in his mind, in his sense of responsibility, in the admonition of his character, that he couldn't see, he doesn't see 5 bags, making 5 more bags of gold, a big thing, but he sees it as him being accountable for the 5 bags that was given to him. You can read that over. Listen to this.
The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5.
Brought the other 5. Like, if we stop right there, can anybody tell me, before we finish reading, you couldn't tell where to get the other 5 from? Did he steal it? Did he borrow it? Where did he get it from? Because it sounds like he just had another 5 bags, right? He said that he brought the other 5. Like the master gave him 10 bags, he didn't. But because of his accountability, because of his responsibility, because of the admonition of his character, that led him to the point to where he could be trusted with 5 bags. That's 100 years worth of salary he was trusted with. Just out of his integrity. He couldn't see himself bringing no less than 5. So then here's how, now he's going to tell his master how he got the 5. Go ahead.
His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness.
So, did you hear what he said? He said, I took the 5 you gave me, and I did exactly what you thought I would do. I earned the other 5. I did exactly what you thought I would do. Listen, how many of y'all know the master probably would have been okay if he'd have raised another 2? You think? Would you be mad to get another 40 years worth of money? Absolutely not. But this guy in his integrity said, his character and his accountability, for every bag that you gave me, every 20 years that you entrusted me with, I'm going to do the same thing I did when you gave me the 3. Or you gave me the 2, or you gave me the 1, or when you gave me my first opportunity. I can't do any less. Nowhere in these instructions do we see where the master told them what they ought to make. Nowhere in there. Not in this version, not in Luke. There's nowhere where the master says, I'm giving you these 5. I'm giving you these 2, giving you these 1. You better come back with 5. You better come back with 2. You better come back with 4. You never said that. Never said that. So he would have been, I'm sure the master would have been, you did a good job, right? Because you came back, you gave me back 7, and I gave you 5. But see, this is where we can tell, you can tell where we are along the maturation process and our character being like Christ. Do we want to do enough so we can say we did something? Do we want to do enough so we are those people where God said you didn't do anything? Or do you want to be the one that God says, I saw how you were living before, and the things I gave you before, when you had nothing, you did well with them. But why is it that now I'm giving you greater opportunity and you won't do as well as you did when you had little opportunity? But just so we know that's not accident, but you keep reading.
The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things.
Now watch this. Could you read the end of the verse for the last one? After the master was told about the 5. What did the master say to the guy with the 5 that made the 10?
I will put you in charge of many things.
Okay, because he was what? Before many things.
Oh. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things.
Okay.
So I will put you in charge of many things.
And what did you say to the one with the 2 that made 4?
You have been faithful with a few things, and I will put you in charge of many things.
Can you hear what the master is saying? The master is saying, see, I can tell your character. I can tell what level of accountability you want to operate in. I can tell the integrity of your heart. Because when you knew you had nothing, you were faithful in the nothing that you had. You were faithful all the way up while you was at the point of fearful of not going back to having nothing. Be it money, be it responsibility, be it opportunity, be it recognition, be it the ability to operate in your purpose, to be to those that operate in where in my advance of my kingdom, so you're transforming the world, so my kingdom has come, my will is done. So when you was a single person, before you had children, before you got married, before you got out of school, before you got a job, before you got a car that ran, other than you put your feet through the floor and pushed it, when you were close to coming out of that, you did your best. And I told you then, well done, my good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over the little, I will make you rule over much. Somehow, somewhere along the lines, we have gotten to the place that now that we have 2, or now that we have 5, God is saying, listen, now you've gotten complacent because you're so far away from having nothing, you think you have something, but what I'm saying to you is still little, and I want to give you much. He told the woman 5. Well done, my good faithful servant. You've been faithful over the little. Wait a minute. Then he goes, he says to the one with 2. Faithful, no, wait. You know what some of us would have done? We'd have been like, wait a minute, what's this stud talking about? I just took 5 and made 10. He gonna tell this guy the same thing he told me? We would have tripped like that. What did you like disciples? Walk out with Jesus behind. Walk behind Jesus. Listen, can I talk to you for a minute? You know, when you get to your kingdom, you get to heaven, let me and my bro, let us sit on your right and left side. You know, all these other 10, you know, people don't even remember our name, but it don't matter. We still want them seats next to them, next to you. What about like, listen, Jesus, let me talk to you for a second. That dude, he did a good job. He gave 2, he gave 2. I did 5. and I gave you back 10. Something going wrong with our thinker. Going on with our thinker. He's saying, listen, the fact is I gave you 5, and that not 3 or 4, it's because you did well with the 2. And you did well with the 1. Don't get up here and then start tripping because, you know, I've been around church my whole life. Y'all know the stuff we say. And folk at church will be glad I show up at all. No accountability. This isn't, you know what? God doesn't want you accountable to Him only. He wants you accountable to what He has done for you. Let me let that linger for a second. He wants you accountable to the things He has done for you. Well, can you prove that, preacher? Yes. The Word of God says, judge your
Self.
so you won't have to be judged. He's talking accountability. Hold yourself accountable to what I have already done for you and told you, so you don't have to come before me and I hold you accountable. These 2 people got it. Well, let's go to this third guy.
Then the man who received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked and lazy servant. You knew that I harvest where I have not sown seed and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers so that when I return, I would have received it back with interest.
Now, is this rich guy, is he tripping? I mean, it's like, how do you know I know that you like to reap, that you are a man that reap where you haven't sown? How do you know that? Because you just told me. You just said, I know that you're a hard man, a hard master who likes to reap where you haven't sown. Now listen, everybody said the same thing this guy said, except for he added a modifier. His modifier is, I know you're a hard man. Nobody else called this gentleman hard. Nobody, but everybody knew he likes to reap where he personally hasn't sown. That means they knew that when he gave them that money, they knew what he was expecting. And this guy just said the same thing. I know you expect me to do better. Here it is. Watch this, watch this, watch this. But I was afraid. I was scared. I was worried. I was sad. My feelings was hurt. Somebody did me wrong. Oh, he said, listen, all the excuses, he said, no, I'm going to tell you what the deal is, dude. You wicked and lazy. This is how God hears our excuses. Because watch this. We can't have it both ways. We can't have, I can do all things. And, could you say it again? And I don't do them, and here's why I don't. I was afraid. I don't know what to say to people when I go out on the street. I was afraid. You won't know till you go. Whatever God is telling you to do, you just heard a testimony. He don't owe us no explanation. He owes us revelation. He gives us revelation. Our job is to employ the revelation. We'll get understanding, as the old down south used to say. We'll understand it better by and by. We don't have to understand it now. We just need to understand who He is, who we are, and what He said. sympathy, right? Oh, you poor baby, you. I'm gonna give that one back to you because you was afraid. It was like, look, take that nigga and cast him out of my sight. Put that Negro out my sight. Now, why would he be upset and say, cast him out of darkness? Why? Because he's unprofitable. And watch this. He wouldn't have given it to him if the guy hadn't already proven he could be profitable. He lost his accountability. He checked out, he found the limit of his character. He found the far-reaching boundaries, however far-reaching that is. He reached the maximum boundaries of his integrity. Probably said this. You know how church folk do. You know how church folk do. Pastor got a new car already. Pastor got a big house already. Pastor wear new suits every week. And y'all know we ain't talking about me, but I'm just saying y'all know how church folk do. You know how church folk do. I'm like, man, I'm not making this cat no more money. Hey, they got 5 bags, they got 2 bags, gave me 1 bag. They gonna make some money. You don't need no more money. You don't need, you get all them other folks. I will show up on Sundays, but I know most everybody else gonna show up. I will get on the phone on Tuesdays, but I know other people already be on the phone. I would get my shirt and be prepared to go out in the summer, but other folk gonna go do it anyway. I would give first fruit, but other folk gonna do it. I would sacrifice and not drink cafe, latte, coffees for $10 a day every day so I can help get the ministry where it needs to be, but other folk gonna do it. That's how we think. I would not take vacation this summer, but we already got other folk like, I'm gonna take vacation this summer already, so I'm gonna take mine. God is like, I'm gonna cast your behind out in outer darkness. This is where it is. This is where we are. Listen, we talk about being in the end of times, end of days. We are there. There ain't no question about it. We are there. It ain't coming. Right? Jesus told the woman at the well, said, listen, you don't know who you worship. If you knew who you worship, then the one that's asking for water, instead of to ask me why I'm asking for water, you ask me for water. He said, the days are coming. Watch this. Show you how quick we can miss this thing. He said, the days are coming where you will not worship God here, but you will worship him there. Where? In spirit and in truth. He said, not only are they coming, but they are now here. When he started talking, they were coming. While he was talking, they arrived. Days went from future to present. Went from future to present. People missing their day of visitation because you can't discern the time. That's what was up with this cat. That's why he said, listen, cast that Negro into outer darkness. And for those watching on live stream, the word Negro is a slang term for nigga, which is slang for an ignorant, unlearned person. Not a person of color, but anyone that's ignorant and unlearned. So, listen, this is how we're going to go and possess the land. He's going to say, walk around the wall 7 times and shout. Amen. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to be talking. Oh, I'm so tired. My corns hurt. I understand my back hurt. Man, I need to get some water. He said, I told you to be quiet. You get to the 3rd round, you start complaining. He said, now stop and start over again. I don't know how wide Jericho was. Was it 30-something miles or something like that? Can you imagine going around 100 miles? You had 90 miles, 99 started griping, and God said, now you done messed up, start over. I told you to go around 7 times with your mouth shut. How many times in our own life do we have to go around that? This is the same thing that happened with the children of Israel. You know why they did so well around going around Jericho? Because they had seen their parents die in the wilderness going in a circle for 40 years. For us, supposed to be a very brief journey. You You want us to be quiet for 7 days? Oh, we can do that, because we ain't about to start this back over again. This way you gotta get you in your life. You gotta begin to say, I've come too far to go back now. I cannot start this over. I refuse to have to start this over. Fear, God is not giving you to me, you gotta go. Excuses, that's what you are. Human reasoning, that's what it is. Listen, I refuse to be among the wicked. Count among the wicked, I refuse to be lazy. I'm tired, but I ain't gonna be lazy. See, that's why he was upset with this cat. Dude, when you had nothing, I hired you. You were standing downtown. You were standing on the south side of Chicago, on 79th in Halsted, hanging with the boys doing nothing. And I drove by and picked you out and gave you a chance. And you did well. I brought you back and you did well. Brought you back and you did well. Now you ain't living on the street slinging drugs no more. Now you ain't on the street stealing out the stores and selling stuff. You ain't a booster no more. Now you ain't standing outside picking people's pocket, taking their credit card. You ain't doing none of that. You ain't doing none of that no more. Now, look at you. You got an apartment of your own. It's fully furnished. Rent paid up ahead. Got you a nice little car. Got your clothes, a little tight. You got the heat going on with your shoes. You got 4 pair of shoes. Now you're going to come to the point of your character now. You're going to reach the point of character. You can no longer hold yourself accountable, so I'm about to do it. Take this person, take their bag, watch this. Take his bag, take her bag, and give it to the one, you know the one with the 2 is saying like this, they're going to get 5, no, give it to the one with the 10. Then he goes on and explains it. He said, here's accountability. To him who has, even more is going to be given. Has what? Accountability. The ability to judge yourself based on God's word. Hold yourself accountable for what God has already done and what he has promised to do. Right? What does he call us to do? He called us to be living epistles. So we can go and make disciples of all. That's what he called us to do. Not just for us to have our life to get better and that be it. That's the guy with the 1. I'm better. Ain't doing nothing else for you. Oh no, you wicked. Because somewhere in your mind, you let the devil get in your mind. Now where you were heavenly, now you're wicked. So, listen. Let's take heed to what God is saying today. The only way to go up and possess what God has called us to possess, calling us to possess, is that we go up and don't do what those who he's dispossessing. See, he dispossessed the land and give it to us. Well, people that already gone in and did this work because they couldn't prove to be accountable to him anymore. Got a little something they couldn't prove. Got a little something, and now all of a sudden, character went out the door. That's what happened with the guy with the 1. Same thing. God's like, I'm going to dispossess what I gave you as a possession. When had you done what I said, you would have brought 2, and you don't know where you would have been next. Just know whatever it is you think you got, it's still a little. But I'm telling